Presidential spokesperson Mohan Samaranayake says that President Mahinda Rajapaksa will take speedy measures regarding the impeachment motion against the Chief Justice, which was passed in Parliament yesterday. He also said that the President has no other alternative, according to the Constitution, but to implement the resolution that was passed in Parliament.
According to Mohan Samaranayake, the President had sought the advice on the Parliamentary Select Committee report from a number of intellectuals and seniors in the legal profession. The presidential spokesperson added that the experts were of the opinion that based on constitutional provisions, the President should implement the decision taken by Parliament on the impeachment motion. The impeachment motion, which was approved in Parliament yesterday, had been handed over to President Mahinda Rajapaksa last night. According to Mohan Samaranayake, the President will take steps to appoint a new Chief Justice in the coming days.
The passing of the impeachment motion against the Chief Justice has drawn international condemnation.
Issuing a statement, the Secretary-General of the Commonwealth, Kamalesh Sharma, has stated that he is profoundly concerned about the situation in Sri Lanka following the passing of the impeachment motion against the Chief Justice. He notes that the process has raised questions regarding aspects of the Sri Lankan constitution. Kamalesh Sharma urges that time be taken to reflect and consider the constitutional and other ramifications of the differing positions taken by the judiciary and the legislature before any decision is taken by the executive on the impeachment of the Chief Justice. The Commonwealth Secretary-General noted that he had been in contact with the Sri Lankan government and had offered assistance to find a solution. Sharma adds that he recognizes this as a Sri Lankan matter, but notes that he is conscious of the issue due to the values and principles that Sri Lanka shares as a Commonwealth nation. Meanwhile, the British government has also expressed its deep concern over the impeachment proceedings against the Chief Justice. According to a British Foreign Office spokesperson, the British government is concerned about the process of the impeachment as well as the related reports of intimidation of members of the Sri Lankan Bar Association. The British government notes that the impeachment process contravenes clear rulings issued by Sri Lanka's highest court and appear to contravene basic principles of fairness, due process, respect for the independence of the judiciary and the Commonwealth Latmia House principles. The United Kingdom calls on the Sri Lankan government to respect democratic principles and to ensure the continued safety of the Chief Justice, Dr. Shriyani Bandaranaike. The International Commission of Jurists has also condemned the decision of the Sri Lankan Parliament to impeach the Chief Justice. According to the Asia-Pacific Director of the ICJ, Zam Zarifi, the impeachment motion has defied the rulings of the Supreme Court and has thrown into chaos the system of checks and balances in the country. The ICJ notes that the Parliament and the Executive have effectively decapitated the country's judiciary in pursuit of short-term political gain. It notes that the issue has precipitated a legal and constitutional crisis of unprecedented dimensions. Zam Zarifi notes that President Mahinda Rajapaksa should refuse to appoint a new Chief Justice and instead call on Parliament to enact a new law to govern the impeachment process.
Speaker of the House, Chaman Rajapaksa, addressing an event in Galle today, said that the time has come for a change in the constitution.
We are aware of the differences that have arisen because of that issue. If these issues are to be resolved, the constitution should be changed by discussing about the measures that will coincide with the development of the country so that no issues will arise. Now it is up to the legislature to prepare a constitution that will protect the dignity of all institutions because it has the power to change it as well as to prepare a new one. Now this is a good opportunity for that. The event was held to lay the foundation stone for the court complex that is to be built at the Beligaha Junction in Galle.
A special seminar was held in Kalutara North today under the theme Don't Lay Hands on the Judiciary.
An appeal has not been made to the President to remove a judge. Under Standing Order 78, as approved by a majority in this chamber, the Chief Justice mentioned below should be impeached, as she has committed these wrongs. Did you see anything like that? I don't think such a proposal has been approved. This is just a hoax. If you respect the law, then approve a new proposal.
Shirani Bandaranaike's house is a government house in a secure zone. They don't even allow a vehicle to enter after 10. However, if the government wants, then they can go and scream in front of the house. She is still in office and should be respected. The government is engaging in acts of theft and are going in search of other people's shortcomings. We challenge you to clean up your parliamentarians first. The judges must now get together and strike this ball. It is in your hands now. We have done our part as political parties and trade unions. Do not accept the new Chief Justice. You have no right to accept him or her as well. That person has no right to be appointed as the Chief Justice. He has no legal right and cannot be accepted as the Chief Justice before the law. We have written a letter calling on officials to refuse to sit on the bench with him. We will be able to see if the judges are fearless and have the ability to take a decision on behalf of the people. The executive has swallowed the legislature. There is no longer an independent parliament. Except for opposition parliamentarians, everyone else has fallen into such a level where they will sign blank papers given by the president. Only the judiciary remained, and this plan was hatched to take over the judiciary. Now they have done it.
Meanwhile, speaking at an event in Manikinna today, General Secretary of the United National Party, Tissa Attanaika, said that disciplinary action will be taken against those in the UNP who voted in favour of the impeachment motion.
Yesterday, we witnessed that MPs who contested from the UNP voted with the government in violation of the Supreme Court decision. I believe that there is no validity in the positions held by the 225 parliamentarians who acted against the interpretation given by the Supreme Court. I would also mention here that the United National Party has decided to take the necessary disciplinary action against all those who acted against the decision taken by the United National Party in Parliament and who voted in favour of the proposal made by the Parliamentary Select Committee on the impeachment motion.
සඳහා පක්ෂව ඡන්දය ප්‍රකාශ කරපු ඒ සියලු දෙනාට විරුද්ධව එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂය අවශ්‍ය විනය පියවර ගන්න.
The Bar Association of Sri Lanka has decided to meet with the President and discuss the current situation surrounding the impeachment motion. The decision was reached at its monthly meeting of representatives.
The monthly meeting of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka was held today at the BASL premises in Colombo. Attorney at law Kapila Manamperi was appointed to the post of Vice President of the BASL after the position was left vacant by the resignation of Attorney at law Anoma Gunathilaka.
At the moment, with regard to the impeachment against the Chief Justice, all the powers had been vested in His Excellency the President, and therefore that we unanimously decided that the members of the Executive Committee and few other senior members of the Bar Association to discuss this matter further with His Excellency the President to have some kind of reconciliation and to avoid any kind of inflict in the legal profession and also to maintain the dignity of the judiciary.
Journalists also question about the decision taken not to hold an official welcome ceremony if a new Chief Justice is appointed.
ඒක අපි මහා සභාවෙන් ගත්ත රැස්වීමක් 3300ක් අපේ සමාජිකයෝ කොළඹට පැමිණිලා.
At the general meeting, a decision was taken to assemble 3,300 representatives in Colombo. This is the tradition followed for over a decade, and it is a very important event. It is important for a Chief Justice to be recognized.
ලැබීම පිළිබඳ ලැබීමට අවශ්‍ය හොඳ පිළිගැනීමක් ඒක.
Members of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka also expressed their views. Everyone has understood that Parliament has taken a decision and that we are unable to challenge it. We are of the stance that representatives from both sides should come into a reconciliation that protects the dignity of both professions.
කවුරුත් පරදින් නැති win-win.
We agreed to reach a win-win situation because when the legislature and the judiciary is on different sides, the executive, which is in the middle, will make the final decision over the dismissal of a judge. The president is now vested with a great duty. The Bar Association of Sri Lanka has decided to meet with the president and discuss the matter so that he would make a decision by taking both sides into consideration, and that will not harm the supremacy of the people.
මේ පැති දෙක සලකලා බලලා මෙම පැති දෙකටම හානි නොවන.
Another phase of the Sajith Premadasa Sahana Yatra program was held in Pandukapur today under the auspices of Deputy Leader of the United National Party, Parliamentarian Sajith Premadasa.
The event was held in the Pandukapur area in Pandukapur in view of the birthday of MP Sajith Premadasa, which is today. Aid was distributed among those who were displaced by the floods. A number of mementos were also presented to Sajith Premadasa. At a time when those affected by the floods are waiting for relief and aid, yesterday government henchmen celebrated by eating milk rice and lighting crackers to establish the funeral of the judiciary. We can be happy if relief is being given to 500,000 persons who were affected by the floods. However, yesterday's celebrations were not held to provide relief to the people, but to make way for the funeral of the politics in the country and the funeral of democracy.
ජනතාවට සහනයක් ලබා දෙන්නට නෙවෙයි මේ රටේ දේශපාලනේ ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදයේ මලගම ස්ථාපනය කරන්නට.
Moving on to other local news, Director of the Buckingham Centre for Astrobiology, Professor Chandra Wickramasinghe, says that the meteorites that fell in the Polonnaruwa area recently has provided compelling evidence for life existing outside Earth.
On the 29th of December last year, several meteorites crashed into the Aralagangvilla area in Polonnaruwa. The Medical Research Institute took steps to send these fragments of meteorites to astrobiologist Professor Chandra Wickramasinghe of the Cardiff University. Investigations carried out at the university have led to the discovery of a large group of algae known as diatoms within the meteorite.
The microorganisms that are present there are called diatoms, which are a class of algae. And these microorganisms have siliceous cell walls. Okay, they have very strong cell walls made of silicon dioxide polymers. So some of them appear to be dead, and some are living because they are surrounded by mucus sort of membranes. And so that's the find, which is an amazing find. This is the first decisive proof that there is living structures inside a meteorite.
The professor also drew comparison between the diatoms discovered in the meteorite and the red rains experienced in the country.
I think there's no question that the red rain organism is of the class, it belongs to the class algae. It has all the properties, all the appearances that we need for it being an algal cell. But the question is, has it been identified as a known algal cell? And the answer is no. And similarly, the diatom structures that we found inside the meteorites all belong to the general family of algae. So it's they're unicellular organisms, very primitive. They had fallen from the skies in the meteorite. And if some of them can get dispersed into the cloud, then they could be the source of the colored rains.